Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Ekamaksharam Hridi Nirantaram Bhasate Swayam Likyate Katham Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Hyahamaham Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati Hridi Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalanarodhat Atmanishto Bhavatvam Deham Mrinmaya Vajjadatmakamaham Buddhirna tasyastyato Naham tattatapeta sukti samaye Siddhatma sadbhavatah Koham bhavayutak kuto varadhiya Drishthatmanishtatmanam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam Soham Spurtitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Swayam. Namo Ramana. We offer our salutations to Ramana, who is the very self in all beings. And we begin the Thursday Satsang. The Thursday Satsang, which was conducted by Nandakumarji, used to start with the reading of 2 verses selected from the Guru Vachaka Kovai of Muruganar Swami, which has been selected and given to us by Kumari Revati, and that was meditated upon, and then from there, with the inspiration got from those 2 verses, we used to sit for 10 or 15 minutes of self-enquiry meditation. That will be followed by the summing up of the session by Sri Venkatesh Deshpandeji, and this satsang will conclude by the chanting of Ramana Ashtottara, where Vaibhavji and Prarthanama will offer the chanting of the Ashtottaram, and we offer our flowers of attention towards the Lord Ramana, who abides in the heart, who is ever available to us in the heart. So we begin today's meditation. The first verse which has been chosen for us is the verse 57. The 57 verse, Muruganar Swami says, just as the yolk of the egg of the many-hued green peacock is only one in color, just as the yolk of the egg of the many-hued green peacock is only one in color, the original state of this insubstantial world, the original state of this insubstantial world, which appears to be distorted into teeming multiplicity, is pure and unalloyed happiness. By abiding in the state of the self, know this truth now. By abiding in the state of the self, know this truth now, even while that self, appearing as an effect, takes the form of the world manifesting through the power of Maya. By abiding in the state of the self, know this truth now, even while that self, appearing as an effect, takes the form of the world manifesting through the power of Maya. Muruganar Swami tells us that the peacock, the green peacock, is so colorful. If one watches the beautiful feathers of the peacock, it has these beautiful hues, so many colors, so beautifully painted by the divine artist who is the supreme God. But when we see the source of this color, when we see from where is this peacock coming from, then we see that the peacock, all the peacocks are born from that same egg, which is white in color. There's an instance which happens in the presence of Bhagavan, where a white peacock is gifted by the Rani of Baroda. She sends a white peacock to the ashram, and although Ramana says there is no much place in the ashram, the special place for the peacock, and we are not very sure, we have to take care of this peacock from attacks from the wild cats and the other cats and the dogs, and we need to take care whether we need to worry whether will this white peacock gel with the other peacocks, the colored peacocks. There may be some conflicts, so please take it away. But the attendant who has brought the peacock says, Bhagavan, if I don't give it to you, if I take the peacock back, then the Rani of Baroda may not be happy. She'll be sad. So I request you, please accept this gift from the Queen of Baroda. And he places the peacock there. And Ramana, he takes care of that peacock. A special cage is ordered so that the peacock can stay there and is protected. And in the daytime, it is left free to go around the ashram. So it becomes a closed inmate in the ashram. It is going around in every place. And especially in the hall, it's very, very close to the radio. Whenever a music program, especially a flute recital, is being telecasted in the broadcasted in the radio, it used to listen with great attention with eyes closed. So it became a part of the ashram. And one of the devotees commented, these white peacocks are not as beautiful as the colored peacocks. And Ramana corrected the devotee and told, all peacocks are beautiful. Each one is beautiful as it is. And these white peacocks are also equally beautiful. And he continues to say, when the peacocks are born, they're all same in color. They're all eka, one color, one colored ones. But as the peacock grows, it changes colors. It becomes colorful and it starts growing many eyes through which it is seeing the whole world, and it changes colors. But this white peacock remains that eka color, one color, all its life. So this white peacock represents the pure sattva, the purity of the heart. And so saying, he tells that each one is beautiful as it is. One has to get back to that ekarasa. If we grow out of that, then we will start, when we start seeing the whole world with numerous eyes. We have only two eyes, but the mind can create so many thoughts and so many perspectives, so many ideas and so many emotions, that we start seeing the world with different eyes. At that time, we change color, we lose our purity. But Ramana says, even when we see the color, when we turn within and get back to our own source, even it is colorful peacock, if the peacock, we trace back the source of the peacock, we get to that white yolk from which it has appeared. Similarly, Ramana says, even we see that we are so different, we have so many moods, so many ideas, so many thoughts. Ramana says, don't get carried away with these thoughts. Just like how beautiful picture is being projected on a movie screen, do not get overwhelmed by these various characters, various scenes, various happenings which is happening on the screen, because that is all manifestation of Maya. That is the Maya, the magic of the light and darkness, which creates picture on the screen. Similarly, all the experience that we have, all the things that we see in the world are only the projection. They are only the manifestation due to the Maya, due to this magic of the light and darkness. Instead, Ramana says, turn your attention away from these manifestation, but towards that source, that white light which makes this, the play of all these manifestation possible. The play of these pictures on the screen is possible because in the projector there is this white light. So get back to that white light, says Bhagavan. Whenever a thought arises within us, it is us, we are growing many eyes and we are moving outwards, which we are being dragged by the Maya. So instead of pursuing that thought, Ramana says, quickly turn your attention within and ask, for whom is this thought? And the answer is for me. And quickly turn the attention towards the heart and ask the question, who am I? When we hold on to this question, it burns all the other questions. It burns all the other manifestations, and it takes us to the source of all that we see, the source of all experiences, which is the heart. And with this question, it takes us and it makes us abide in that true self, which is our true source, which is without any color, which is unalloyed by any mixture. It is pure sattva. It is the pure, unalloyed happiness, what Muruganar Swami says. Until we abide in that unalloyed happiness of the self, we continue to do this sadhana of turning our attention within with the question, who am I? Let us sit for practice of the self-enquiry for the next 15 minutes. Shri Ramanaya. We move on to the second verse chosen for today. Is the verse 155. The heading of the verse says, the power of vasanas. Among the few rare jivas who practice self-abidance, those who are not able to remain firm on the river bank, which is the state of the self, will be hurdled by those mischievous boys, the vasanas, into the swirling river, the life of samsara, and will suffer. The power of vasanas. Among the few rare jivas who practice self-abidance, those who are not able to remain firm on the river bank, which is the state of the self, will be hurdled by those mischievous boys, the vasanas, into the swirling river, the life of samsara, and will suffer. Here, Muruganar Swami is comparing the bank of the river, which is very, very safe place, as the abidance in the self, and the river, which is ever flowing with current, is the river of samsara. If our attention from the self-abidance from the bank, we are not able to sit in the bank, the mischievous boys called the vasanas, they attack us and they make us jump into this swirling river with currents. I remember the story of a great tapasvi called Nakiran. Bhagavan Ramana says he was meditating on a bank of the river, and he was in that great samadhi state, in the state where he was abiding in the self. And in between the tapasya, he slowly opened his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he saw one leaf from a nearby tree came and fell inside that water. And when it fell inside the water, half of the leaf was submerged in the water and the other half was outside of the water. And as he was seeing that leaf falling down, the half part which was submerged in the water became a fish and it started swimming in the river. And the other half which was outside the water, it became a bird and started flying in the air. And he got overwhelmed by this sight. And as soon as he saw it, he became a yoga brashta. He went into that river of samsara. And then later he had to continue his sadhana, and he sang some verses which made him get back to his true state of self-abidance. So we see Bhagavan who was ever abiding in the self. He says at that moment when he was 16 years old, when he had to face the fear of death, and he faced it, and he realized once for all that what dies is only the body, but he is not the body, he is the self. And at that moment he was perpetually absorbed in the self, and he says there was no change in that state. And he left 6 weeks after his enlightenment. He left home for good and he came to Arunachala. And there he reported, "Father, I have come." And he embraced Arunachaleshwara. And after that, there was no moving away. He went with a barber to a nearby Ayyankulam tank and got his head shaven, and he threw all his belonging into the Ayyankulam tank and came back to the temple, and he was staying in various places inside the temple. When he was staying near the 1,000-pillared hall, there these mischievous boys, the Vasanas that they are talking about, the mischievous boys, the urchin boys, they saw this man who is so still, so unmoving. So they wanted to disturb this young sage. So they started pelting stones on him. They started putting vibhuti and mud on him and was disturbing, wanting to try to disturb the state of Bhagavan. But Bhagavan was that few sages who are ever abiding in the self. So there was no disturbance in Bhagavan. He was not disturbed by any of these activities of the urchin boys. Then when the urchin boys were not there, he realized, why should I simply be a person or an object of which it is disturbing their activities? So he thought, this body should not disturb anyone. So he went and he sat in that deep cave called the Patal Lingam, where it was not taken care at that time. It had it was surrounded by the weeds, and it was covered by termites and scorpions and snakes. He did not mind, and he sat there in the Patala Lingam. There was no disturbance by these vasanas. For us who are filled with these vasanas, we are always, our attention moves outwards and we fall into this river of samsara. But for Ramana, who was ever abiding in the self, there was no disturbance. He was ever abiding in that Patala Lingam, which is the heart cave. I remember one more story of how these vasanas are our habit to always to move outwards. In our curiosity to find, to learn something, our attention is moving outwards. These are the vasanas which, whenever this Kalarani Rangaswami Akka says that in Devika Lotram it is told, Manam Siradu Asaya. If the mind there's a small movement, small vibration in the mind, then that is samsaram. So how to be still in the heart? She was meditating on the first verse of Dhyana Patu. Kannai moodi amarந்து கொள் கடவுள் என்று நினைந்து கொள் எண்ணிடாமல் எதையுமே இறைவன் ஒன்றே நினைந்து கொள். Close your eyes and simply be. Meditate on the Almighty. Think not of anything else. Focus on the Lord alone. When she was meditating on this verse, she told a story of a sadhaka who was sitting on the bank of the river, and he had his open eyes and he was doing his sadhana. When he was doing his sadhana, correctly at one point in a day, a beautiful lady used to walk on the bank of that river, and she used to fetch water from the river and go back. So every day it was disturbing him. He used to, at that point of the time, used to await, okay, that lady is going to come, that beautiful lady is going to come and fetch water. So he was getting distracted by his eyes open. So he tried close. Next day, I'm not going to open my eyes, I'm going to close my eyes, and then I am going to continue my sadhana. But he was closing his eyes and continuing his sadhana. At that point of time, he could hear the bang, the jingles, the movement, the sound of the bangles and her anklets, and that again disturbed him. Then again he thought, okay, I'm getting disturbed, let me close my ears also. So he put a big ball of cotton and covered his ears so that no sound would enter his ears. But what happened? When she was coming, he could smell the jasmine that she was wearing on her head. So there is no end. The vasanas that we are collecting, it makes us move outward. Even when we are sitting for sadhana, it makes us move outward. So Ramana says, this mischievous boy called Vasana, he makes us turn outward and make us fall into the river of samsara. Instead, as soon as the attention moves outwards, quickly you need to cut that at its nib and ask, for whom is this thought? It is for me. And quickly, instead of pursuing the thought outward which will make you fall into the river of samsara, you need to turn within and ask the question, who am I? Let us practice turning our attention back to the self. And Ramana says, these vasanas are all collected habits that we have. So when we are sitting for self-enquiry, these vasanas which are all in the deeper Anandamaya Kosha, which we cannot touch. It is the causal body which is there deep, deep, deep within. But how can we tackle it? When we sit for meditation, it appears as thoughts into our Manomaya Kosha. And there we can tackle it. There, instead of pursuing it, you ask, for whom is this thought? And for me, and if you ask, who am I? Those vasanas which rise from that Anandamaya Kosha is completely destroyed. And Ramana says, like the soldiers are waiting around the fort, inside the fort all these other enemy soldiers are there. Once all these soldiers come out and we tackle each one of them with the enquiry, who am I, and kill them, then when no more soldiers are left, then we can win over that fort. When all the vasanas are tackled and they all burn into ashes, we abide as the self. And we become those rare sage like Bhagavan Ramana, who was ever abiding in the self. And Ramana says, it is possible. Others have succeeded. Why not you? He says, and tells us it is possible to win over all the vasanas, and that is possible only by practice, practice and more practice. Let us sit for the practice of self-enquiry for the next 10 minutes. have a summing up by Sri Venkatesh Deshpandeji.
Namo Ramana. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Ishvaraha, Gurur Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dhyanamulam Guru Bhakti, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa Mokshamulam Guru Kripa. Bhagavan always propounded Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta means that what is your experience in this world? If you look at it, when you had deep sleep, everybody's state in deep sleep is the same. Everybody wakes up from the deep sleep, all say the same thing. Oh, I had a beautiful sleep. And we know that story of King Janaka, where he woke up from a bad dream and then he got up and realized, oh, that was just a bad dream. But he started questioning, is that real? Is the dream real or this waking state real? And Ashtavakra, who was passing by the kingdom, came and said that he clarified this point. He said, when you were having the dream, were you there? Yes, I was there. Now, when the waking is happening, are you there? Yes, I am. Oh, said that I amness, that consciousness, that self is the real reality. And everything else is just a superimposition. Like the snake and the rope. The rope is the reality, but the snake seems very, very real. So on consciousness, if we really see, what happens? What do we see? We see the world of Nama and Rupa in time and space, and we believe that all this is true. All that we are seeing is true. And Bhagavan says, you have to inquire. Like when we woke up from the deep sleep and we realized, oh, I had a very nice sleep. And after we woke up from our dream, and we said, oh, it was just a dream, nothing more than a dream. And you were able to drop it. Sometimes instantly, sometimes after a few hours, or sometimes after a few days. So, like you have to wake up to the dream and you have to wake up to the deep sleep. You have to wake up to this waking also. Unless you wake up to this waking, then only you realize what's the reality of this waking state. Reality of the waking state is nothing but the same reality as the dream state. Everything is just passing, everything is moving, and you are the witnessing consciousness that's actually watching all these things go by. So when you do self-inquiry and you ask, who am I? What happens? Everybody's experience is the same. It goes to a stillness. It's like the stillness between two thoughts or the stillness between two breaths. That stillness that you experience is the same for everybody. So at the core, every being is the happiness, is unalloyed happiness, is stillness without any defects, without any chas, without any vasanas, but continuously because of our vasanas and desires, we think that we project this world of Nama and Rupa in time and space and believe that this is true. That's why Bhagavan says you have to do self-inquiry and do antarkana shuddhi, cleansing. You have to cleanse within. More and more you develop purity within. more and more you'll experience the silence within. More and more you experience the silence within. That I thought, which is the ego, will be replaced by another I, which will take you to that absolute silence. And what is the state of a jnani? A state of a jnani is absolutely peace within. He does not move at all. And outside, he's just surrendered. He knows everything is going to happen by prarabdha. He is not worried what is going to happen, what's not going to happen. He just accepts whatever happens and he's attached to the self. So that's why where all of us have to be is to be abiding in the self. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. Thank you, Deshpandeji. We conclude the satsang with the offering of Ramana Ashtottara Namavali. The chanting will be done by Prarthanaji and Vaibhavji, and we'll all sit in the meditation of who is listening to this chanting, and we will offer our flowers of attention to Ramana, who is the self.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मि मातरं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन मोहसेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगदितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्तरस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तमाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहासळे लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविधे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदां देशिने नमः ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासुतहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः ॐ चूणिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः ॐ विराजितशलाकृतये नमः ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः ॐ पूर्णाय नमः ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः ॐ गम्भीराय नमः ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः ॐ स्वराजे नमः ॐ महर्षये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ ईड्याय नमः ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः ॐ विमलाय नमः ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलहृद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानामाराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादकसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋचान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसाराणवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रिहस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविजितनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रगौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणभगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वकबीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासे कराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. Thank you, Prarthana Ma. Thank you, Venkatesh Deshpandeji. And I thank everybody for being a part of this self-enquiry session. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Thanks, Ujwal. Namo Ramana.